Report number 1. Peter Dincliffe, Head of Project Lostout. Date 10th of May 1999. Today we start on Project Lostout. I am making these reports on this project so that we may show how capable we are. The council has given us the money and green light to make a nature trail out of the Lostout forest. This is a big undertaking for my team, and it is the toughest challenge we've faced yet. But we will not be defeated. My team has been assigned to complete this in 2 months, which may sound like plenty of time, but I am sure that the days will pass us by instantaneously. Our plan is to make a single trail that goes through the forest up to the lake, around it and connect it back to the pathway. It will be a simple dirt pathway to save on money, as I have been instructed to do by the council, and it will feature a field of flowers and an empty grass area for picnics, barbecues and other recreational activities. I have placed the Pritchard brothers on lake cleanup, Morgan and David on supply handling, which is buying, moving and working with the finance team to keep our budget steady. Gary, Stephen and Melissa are on forest clearing, which is felling trees, clearing any logs, stumps and bushes that might get in our way. And me, Dean, Brian and Kyle will actually be the ones who are making the pathway. After that, we'll get a few gardeners in to do the grass area and the flower field area. Report number 2. Peter Dincliffe, Head of Project Lostout. Date 17th of May 1999. It has been a week now and everything has been going smoothly. There have been no injuries, incidents or budget concerns. I am proud to say that my team and I are on schedule. However, one matter concerns me about the project itself. I understand that Lostout Forest could end up being a bit of a tourist attraction due to the beauty of the area. But I doubt anyone would be interested in the local folklore about the forest, about the raging demon that carved people in the village outside of Lostout thousands of years ago. If word got out about that to visitors, they'd probably want to stay well away from both the village and the trail we're making through Lostout Forest. I may not have the authority to question the council on such matters, but I hope our work won't be for nothing. I like having extra cash in the bank and all, but I also don't like it when a project completely wastes my time. I've got children at home. Report number 3. Peter Dincliffe, Head of Project Lostout. Date 20th of May 1999. I would like to report good news today, but we seem to have a slight issue. We have security guards patrolling the area at night, so pesky teens don't enter the forest with their darkberry cider, cheap vodka and drugs, messing with our machinery, tools, and mucking up our work. However, our guards noticed something very peculiar last night. I spoke to them this morning and they all told me the same story. At around 9:30 PM, strange moaning sounds could be heard throughout the forest. Of course, a couple of men went to check it out, and upon reporting back, they had not found anything or anyone that would make such a sound. I believe it just to be a fox that they couldn't find, as they do make screaming sounds at late hours. Not sure why though. They believe it must be some school kids mucking about, so they have asked if they could explore the grounds a bit more freely during their night shifts, just to make sure they can catch anyone causing problems. I agreed with them. In fact, I think it's a good idea to give them as much roaming freedom as possible. You never know what's hiding behind a tree is something my grandma says constantly. Poor thing has dementia, so she's often stuck on a memory loop of when she went camping with my granddad. Anyway, whether the moaning sounds are youngsters, foxes or spooky ghosts, I'm confident the guards will locate the source and safely escort them off from our construction site. Nothing else has happened throughout the day. No injuries, muck-ups, or budget concerns. Report number 4. Lucy Carmike, Head of Nighttime Security. Date, 24th of May, 1999. I have been asked by Mr. Dincliffe to write my own report for the Council about the experiences my team and I have encountered during the night security patrols on Project Lostout. We've had a couple of injuries with our new men. It's nothing serious, and nothing a couple of plasters can't solve. They've just been a bit incompetent with their surroundings. They trip, they fall. They claim that their torches keep going out, but we constantly make sure to check our batteries regularly to make sure they're not going to go out on us. There have been these strange moaning sounds. Whenever we hear them, we send a couple of men out to investigate, but they always come back empty-handed. I think that the next time we hear these noises, I will go myself. I don't mean to brag, but I have more guts and competence than most of these men here. A lady has to learn to look after herself after all. I've heard the creepiest ghost stories about this forest, all of them. I mean, I like ghost stories. It's a good tool to toughen up the men, scare them a bit, and pass the time during our breaks. However, I don't believe there are any monsters, ghouls, or spooks in this forest. It's probably some school lads messing with us. If it is, they're pretty consistent and they must be good at hiding. It might even be some sort of tape recording or something hidden in a tree somewhere. Report number 5. Lucy Carmike, Head of Nighttime Security. Date, 25th of May, 1999. Turns out that my incompetent men aren't so incompetent after all. I took those 2 men with me when searching for the strange moaning sound, and their torches going off was not due to them not checking on it, so their cuts and bruises are not their own fault. We put new batteries in all of our torches before heading out, so there was no way they would go out. However, just as we were getting close to the source of the moaning sound, our torches went out, all at the same time. That's no coincidence. Maybe the council doesn't believe in spirits or supernatural stuff, but me and the 2 guys, Dominic and Trevor, do believe in it. We decided to keep going. We got into a line. Dominic put his hand on Trevor's shoulders, and he put his on mine. I walked us right up to the source of the moaning. It was a massive oak tree, probably the thickest and tallest one in the forest. I think we should chop it down. It could be some elaborate prank by some secondary school students who just learned some crazy science experiments that can drain batteries, and they might have climbed the tree and put a radio thing in one of the high branches and put it on full blast. It probably needs to be chopped down for the trail anyway. Report number 6. Peter Dincliffe, Head of Project Lostout. Date, 31st of May, 1999. Some slight budget concerns. Looks like Morgan and David are cracking under pressure. We're also starting to fall behind schedule a tiny bit. The lads are complaining about this heatwave. I can understand why. I've made sure to provide plenty of water for them while they work. I even let them have ice cream on break today. So our morale should perk back up shortly. Thankfully, there are no injuries or other concerns to report on. I have considered Miss Carmike's suggestion about the large oak tree, and I have decided that we should get it cut down. It will be in the way of the path through the forest, so I'll get Gary and Stephen and Melissa right on it. I saw her report. It does seem a bit spooky that all their torches went out at the exact same time when they got close to the source of the strange moaning sounds. Oh well, I'm sure they'll be fine. I told them that if they ever have to go near the tree again, they should take an extra torch just to be on the safe side. Report number 7. Peter Dincliffe, Head of Project Lostout. Date 7th of June, 1999. The heat has calmed down a bit. We had to stop all our work on the 4th due to that storm. There was too much rain, too much wind, and too much lightning. There have been no casualties, so that's great news, right? Gary, Stephen and Melissa haven't gotten around to getting rid of that massive oak tree just yet, but they said they're almost there. That's good. No more strange moaning at night. Today was Dean's birthday, so we had a bit of a banquet on our lunch break, all out of my own pocket, since he's a good friend of mine. Aren't I just the best gaffer you've ever seen? Of course I am. Morale is high, we're back on schedule, and there are no problems to report. We even have our budget back under control. I can't believe it's been a month since we started this project. We've got a lot left to go, but I feel confident that we can finish on time. I've heard that the tree will be turned into various wooden materials for the council to use for construction work, so that's a good plan. Saves us a lot of money on wood stuff. I feel like our victory against the massive oak should be something special though. Once we get it removed, I'm going to put a request in for it to be turned into some sort of personal items for everyone involved in this project, even the security staff. It would be a really nice thing, and I'm sure the money we're saving on this wood stuff should be able to cover it. That would also boost morale greatly. My team will put in twice the effort, I'm sure of it. Report number 8, Stephen Hossington, Tree Felling Captain. Date 9th of June, 1999. The gaffer told me to write up a report on the state of my mental health. He thought that writing about it in my own words, but professionally, would help me to understand things better, as well as me being clear about how I feel within myself. He said that you council lads and lasses needed to hear about it, and I'm the only one who actually knows how I feel, so I need to do it. Therapy and reports in one are proper strange. I don't have a history of mental health problems. Ask any of the lads about me and they'll tell you I'm a happy chap most of the time. Only time I'm a bit down is when me and the missus get into an argument, but even that's not too often. All of a sudden I start to hear these voices in my head. I never really understand what they're saying, but it's like they're calling out to me and drawing me closer to it. I also seem to have some sort of depression and a lack of concentration. I can't focus on my work because of the voices, and I also feel depressed, or something along those lines. It's as if I'm being slowly dragged under the sea. It all started yesterday. I dealt the final blow to the great oak tree we were working on. We had a couple of minutes of a break just to celebrate, wipe the sweat off our hands and catch our breath. I must have been so happy that now I feel like there is no joy left in my life, as if it's been pushed out of me. I'm not sciencey and all that, so I won't pretend to know about how emotions or brains work, and I'm no doctor, so I can't tell you for sure what's going on with me. If these problems persist, I will go and see my doctor about it. Surely it can't be the tree's fault. It's not haunted or cursed, right? There is no way that it could be. Ghosts and curses just don't exist. Report number 9. Lucy Carmike, Head of Nighttime Security. Date 9th of June, 1999. I thought it was a good idea to chop that tree down, but I heard what happened to Mr. Hossington, and I can't help but notice that his affliction lines up with when he finished chopping down that tree. Now, it could be a coincidence, but maybe one of those ghost stories might be true. Maybe even the folk story about that demon tearing up the village, ripping apart its victims limb by limb. Or maybe I'm just paranoid. The moaning has stopped at least, so I'm very thankful about that. But as one door closes, another one opens. We've caught some lads getting drunk and messing about in the forest today. They got a bit hectic, so we got the police involved. Hopefully that will be a wake-up call for them. They can't be young and stupid forever. They've got their exams to get through before they're allowed to take it easy. I bet their parents are furious with them. To be young and stupid. I'd love to change the clocks if I can, but that's just not how life works, I'm afraid. Report number 10. Peter Dincliffe, Head of Project Lostout. Date 14th of June, 1999. I'm starting to get worried about Stephen. He's really out of it lately. He told me his doctor needs him to have a psychological evaluation to see if he needs counselling, medication, or both. I really hope he gets the help he needs. I've not known him for too long, but he's great at his job, and he's usually so upbeat, always having a laugh with the others. It's actually a little bit heartbreaking to see a good man act so lost and sorrowful. I'll have to keep my eye on him, and make sure he doesn't do something stupid like hurting himself. He's asked for his tree trophy to be made into an empty diary. I didn't know he liked to write about his life, but that's what he wants, so that's what I'll aim to sort out for him. Maybe getting this diary will cheer him up a bit. As for a project, we're still on schedule. We've contracted some gardeners to help with the grass area and flower meadow thing. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. I have a lot of faith in their abilities. We're getting close to finishing this project, and I'm really glad about that. It's been tough, but we've managed everything really well, and I'm proud of the work we've accomplished here. I just hope it's all worth it in the end. Report number 11. Peter Dincliffe, head of Project Lostout. Date 21st of June, 1999. The weather has been scorching this week, so the lads have been taking more breaks than usual. We're still on schedule though. I've gotten some of the tree trophies sorted out and given out. Melissa has her wooden rabbit, Gary has himself a lovely wooden cup, and poor Stephen has his diary. I really can't help but feel sorry for Stephen. He's been given both medication and a counsellor. He's still not all there yet, but I think he's improving. He seems a bit more focused, but he's also talking a lot less now. Maybe talking to a counsellor wears you out from talking? I don't know. We have, however, had an incident. A digger actually went a bit out of control and somehow ended up in the lake with one of the Pritchard brothers, Daz, still in it. He nearly drowned, poor lad. He's fine now. They actually had to take him to the hospital. I can't imagine drowning, especially not while being trapped in a digger. He'll be back in a couple of days, so that's positive news. Report number 12. Peter Dincliffe, head of Project Lostout. Date 28th of June, 1999. We're almost done with the project. It's been a long time coming, but the end is in sight. Just one more week left now. Daz Pritchard is back with us and suffered no major injuries or trauma after nearly drowning. There has been no more strange moaning or silly school kids mucking about at night. Stephen even seems a bit better this week, and I'm really glad to see him finally getting his mind back. I guess those meds and that counselling stuff must really be helping him after all. It's a good thing. I bet his son Jeffrey must have been really worried about him. Report number 13. Peter Dincliffe, head of Project Lostout. Date 5th of July, 1999. The project is complete, but I fear it was not worth it. It's an amazing nature trail, but Stephen Hossington has gone missing. No one has seen him for about a week now. Everyone is really worried about him. He was a good man, and it's as if that tree infected his mind. Of course, no one will believe me or admit to something like that. I just hope someone finds him soon, alive and well. That's all we can do. Hope. Dear Diary, today I would like to tell you about my wonderful day out. Believe it or not, I actually had a great day. I know that I write a lot about my problems like my depression, anxiety, and my work bully Jordan. Ugh, I hate Jordan, he's such a prick. Anyway, I met a girl. She is really sweet and I actually got a date with her. Oh, wait. I should really explain this. So I woke up at stupid o'clock again today, about 6 AM, because I just couldn't stay asleep, even with the new herbal sleep tablets I've been taking. After waking up, I felt like a complete load of bollocks, as per usual. I went downstairs and decided to watch some cartoons. Sat down, turned on the TV, started watching. A few hours go by and now it's about 9 AM. I'm hungry at this point, so I turned to the fridge. There wasn't anything left. Not for my breakfast anyway, so I checked the cupboards. Empty. I sighed to myself and decided I need to go out and buy something. I could always order some breakfast, but it would be a massive waste of money and I'm trying to conserve my money a bit. Anyway, I quickly brushed my teeth and lazily got dressed. Time to head out. I get out of the house and lock the door behind me. I don't want any burglars in my home after all. Right, so I'm walking down the street to the shop to get some eggs for my breakfast, right? But something seemed odd. It was bright, not just a sunny day kind of bright, but like lens flares in a 4K game kind of bright. Everything seemed more beautiful today, and everything seemed to have more detail than normal. I thought to myself, did my eyesight get better overnight? Am I a vampire now or something? Obviously, neither of those thoughts were right, but I could see all the leaves in such a brilliant light that I've just never seen before. Hell, I even decided to take a couple of pictures just because the sky and trees just looked so perfect. Have you ever just stopped to admire the rustling trees of a gorgeous day? Oh wait, of course not. You're just a diary. Silly me. I get to the shop and I pick up some eggs. I also saw some mushrooms and decided to get some of those too. You know I love mushrooms. They're one of my favourite food items. Something else catches my eye whilst I'm in the shop. I went to pay, but there were a few customers in front of me, so I do my usual thing when this happens. Stand still and look around like an idiot until the customers in front of me finish paying. On the shelves to the right were some magazines. I'm not a reader of magazines, but one of them was completely out of place, which caught my eye. It was some magazine on nature walks or something like that. I'm a recluse, so going out on nature walks just isn't my forte. I finally pay for the eggs and mushrooms, then walk home. Nothing special happens on my walk home, apart from seeing the most adorable dachshund ever. Sausage dogs are super cute. If I could afford one, I'd get one as a pet and call it something adorable and silly like Flubbles or something. Anyway, let's skip ahead to me being at home. I decided to go for something simple and hearty. Fried egg and mushroom sandwich. Yum. Everyone knows how a ritual goes. You cook it, you eat it, then you break your back while washing up. Ugh, back pain is the worst. I went back to my cartoons, and then there was this episode where the characters are going on a camping trip. For a third time today, the universe seemed to be telling me that I need to go outside more. I do like nature, and I see the beauty in it, but going outside is pretty scary for me. So I try not to go outside unless I have to. I continued to watch cartoons for a bit longer. It got to about 11 AM, and I was starting to get bored of binge watching. So I went upstairs and played some games. I downloaded a mod for a game I've been playing and got started in a new world. Yet another sign that I should go outside, as the game drops me in a forest. Wonderful, I thought to myself. You know what? Screw it. I'm going out. Nothing is going to stop me today. I punched my fists together, wince in pain because what I did was stupid and painful. Then I put my shoes on and head out. There is actually a nature trail a short walk from my house, so I go there. It's called Lostout Trail. It's a creepy name, so I bet there's some fun ghost stories about it that probably only take place at night. Why do ghouls only come out at night anyway? I stick my earphones in my ears and walk out to Lostout Trail. It took me about 10 minutes and I didn't even get lost. I always worry about getting lost when I go to a new place, especially if I go by myself. I stare at the gate for a moment, feeling anxious. What if I get lost? What if someone attacks me? What if I have a panic attack? Those were the thoughts rushing through my mind. But I did what any sensible adult would do in this situation. I turned the volume of the music up louder. I swear I'll be deaf by 40 from how loud I have to listen to music just to feel calm outside. Anyway, I open the gate and enter the trail. It happens again. I notice all the beauty and detail of my surroundings like I did earlier this morning. I couldn't help but walk slowly and just turn my head to watch everything happening. In fact, I was so awestruck of the beauty of nature itself that, after only one song, I turned off the music, took out my earphones and just walked. I felt oddly calm. When I actually noticed how I was feeling, it should have shocked me and made me feel anxious, since it was a really strange occurrence. yet I didn't feel anxious about it at all. In fact, I felt completely at the mercy of the sheer brilliance and dazzling beauty of nature itself. Now, if anyone is reading my diary and has gotten this far, then please forgive me for being so in-depth and detailed in a moment. For some reason, the events of today are so vivid that I can't stop thinking about it. Anyway, I'll continue. The walk started off with a simple dirt trail. It was that awkward sand dirt with random stones and pebbles strewn across it. Not quite gravel, not quite sand, not quite just dirt. It was something in between, all of the above. It is summer right now, and it's warm. Not too warm, but there are no clouds, and I probably should have brought a cold drink with me just to stay hydrated and cool. Oh well, I survived. Spoilers. The trail sits along the side of a small field of grass, not much bigger than the size of a football pitch. The grass looked uneven. Some patches were more grown than others. Someone really needs to cut that grass. All this sun will make it grow too quickly and it'll get longer and chaotic. It seemed like a good place to let a dog off its lead and just run around. I wonder if wild rabbits hop around in it sometimes. The trail led up to a wooded area. Not quite a forest, but more like a few rows of trees on either side. I'm not a tree expert, so I'm not sure what trees they were, but they were all way too tall. I tried looking up at them, but the sun caught my eyes, and I immediately had to look away. Maybe I'll be both deaf and blind by my 40s. Ugh. Entering the wooded area, I started hearing the chirping of birds. I usually hate the sound of birds chirping. I think it's one of the most annoying sounds in the world, but for some reason I found it cute and satisfying. I don't know. There were a variety of bird songs, mainly the coo of pigeons though. Bloody pigeons. Anyway, most people don't realise just how loud wooded areas are. Singing birds, the constant flapping of their wings, rustling of leaves, the creaking of branches. And sometimes you can hear like animals scurrying around, or the never-ending buzzing of bees, wasps, hornets and flies. How was I able to appreciate such an annoying set list of sounds today? I'm still a bit surprised about it even now. I continued walking and finally got to the end of the wooded area. I didn't notice it until I got there, but the pathway got much wider as I was walking through. The pathways trailed off up a small incline. I walked up it and there was another field. This time it was a meadow of flowers. Again, I'm not really a huge fan of flowers, but something about this meadow seemed so lustrous and inviting. There were lovely flowers in a variety of colours. Reds, yellows, burgundies, blues, whites. These flowers were obviously planted and looked after, since they weren't just, dandelions and daisies. I don't really care enough about flowers to learn the names of them, but I think they were marigolds and cosmos, maybe daffodils as well. I couldn't seem to escape the magnificence of the great outdoors. Never thought I would say something like that. I took several pictures of the flowers because they looked pretty. I like taking pictures of pretty things after all. However, I saw a bumblebee and decided to quickly walk along. I'm not much of a fan of bees. They're tricky and unpredictably violent. I guess I smell sweet because I seem to attract the tiny monsters all the time. Eventually, I got to the end of the meadow area and found myself at a bench. I decided to skip it because bees. The trail narrowed back down after this, being a much more claustrophobic area with bushes surrounding me on both sides. Thankfully, I'm not claustrophobic. It's funny how hypnotic nature can be when you're taking it all in on a nature trail. I could even hear my own footsteps. Even without blasting music in my ears, I never focus enough to hear my own footsteps, unless I'm wading through something loud, like dead leaves or mud that squelches every time you take a step. Eventually, the path got wider and became a little bit more open. I saw another bench and decided to take a break. I sat down and checked my phone. Surprisingly, I had enough of a signal to use my mobile data. I checked my messages, both online and offline, but no one had messaged me. A bit sad, but I didn't let that ruin my day. I sat here for a while, maybe about 10 minutes. I was pretty hot and sweaty, so being able to take a break and sit down helped me to cool off. Again, I should have brought a cold drink with me. I was also starting to get hungry at this point, since it was nearly 12 PM, but I wanted to make it to the end of the trail before turning back and heading home. There were only 2 sections left to go, another wooded area, and then the lake. I stood up and continued walking, going through the second wooded area. Honestly, it seems to be the exact same thing as the first wooded area. I could hardly tell the difference, so I will skip talking about that section. I finally got through to the end of the trail, a small lake. When I arrived, I noticed something odd. I can't believe it took me so long to notice this, but I hadn't seen a single person on that trail the entire time, until I got to the lake. There was a woman laying down on a picnic blanket, reading a book. She also had a picnic basket beside her. I thought she would be on a date or with her friends or family, but no, she was completely alone. Where was everyone anyway? It was a nice day out, and this trail is beautiful when the weather is right, clearly. I was about to walk past her to get a closer look at the lake, but she stopped me when I walked in front of her. It was funny. She asked me to stay there to block out the sunlight for her. She seemed to be in her 20s, like me. Typical summer clothes, short blue denim shorts, white crop top, black sunglasses. About as generic as you could get, really. She was really cute as well. Like, really cute. She was slim, she had long, wavy, dark brown hair, and she was also around the same height as me, probably a little bit taller. I noticed she was reading manga of all things. It was like a dream come true. Here I was, answering the universe's call to actually go outside and enjoy a long walk through a nature trail, staring at a beautiful woman who is all alone, reading manga. I love manga. I told her that, and we had a conversation about manga, anime, and cartoons. Eventually, I asked her for her name. She told me her name was Carly. With the craziness of the day, I was expecting her to have a really interesting name, like Veronica or Jasmine. Nope, her name was simple. I liked that. She immediately asked me for my name, so I told her. Jeffrey is my name, and anime is my game. Of course, she laughed at me for being really cringy, but hey, she invited me to have some picnic food with her. She said she always makes too much. It turns out she goes to Lostout Trail quite often during spring and summer, as long as it's not raining. Thankfully, she's not one of those freaks who puts mayo on everything. There were barbecue chicken wraps, green pasta salad, and she even brought a full carton of fresh orange juice. Wow. It was really nice. I got to talk to her about more topics, like gaming and information about her. She's 24, lives nearby, and she's an artist. She mainly does commissions to pay her bills, but she's drawing her own comic art as well. She said she'll bring some of her artwork to show me next week. That's right, Jeff got a picnic date. Woohoo! Anyway, after an hour or so had passed, she had to leave. She packed up her things and she gave me her phone number so we could properly arrange to meet up the following week. We decided to walk back together. When coming in, I was enthralled by the beauty of nature, but going out, I was awestruck by this amazing woman I had just met, Carly. When exiting Lostout Trail, we said goodbye and went our separate ways. I can't wait to see her again. I was so lost in thought that I didn't bother listening to music on the way home. When I got home, I unlocked the door, walked in, and sat down on the settee. I just thought about the day for about half an hour. By this point, it was about 2 PM. I decided to text Carly and ask her if she wanted to go ahead and arrange to meet up next week, and she agreed. I get to see her again next Friday at around 12 PM at the lake. I'm really excited. She asked me to bring the drinks this time. I think I'll just get a couple of bottles of flavoured water. Of course, I'd have to run it by her first to make sure I don't buy her something she hates. People would be surprised to find out how many people dislike flavoured water. I hope she doesn't expect me to bring wine or something. I mean, for a first picnic date, wouldn't wine be a bit too much? Anything can happen when wine is involved, especially at 12 PM. Moving on to the more boring parts of the afternoon, I did my daily routine of binge watching some anime and online videos. I did a bit more work on my little greenhouse by adding another plant. I can't wait for my cute little peppers to finish growing. I'm really excited to try homegrown green chili peppers. I'm not all that good at cooking, but practice makes perfect, and fresh homegrown ingredients are the best ingredients to use, I bet. It got to about 5 PM, and I thought to myself, I think I've earned a beer for all my hard work today. I might even have 2 to celebrate me and Carly. So I did. I opened the first can and guzzled it. By the time I was on my second can, it was time for me to start cooking my dinner. Screw it, I can't be bothered now. I'll just order something. That's what I thought to myself. I went with pizza. It had been a while since my last pizza anyway. I got the usual, a Mexican pizza with mushrooms. It arrived, I ate it, it was great. I drank my beer, and I curled up on the settee for a couple of hours, watching a film. As per usual, it was another subpar film. Ah well, maybe next time it'll be a good one. I doubt it though. After that, I had a shower, watched some more anime, and then I decided to head to bed. And that brings me to right now. It's taken me ages to write today's entry, I know, but it was worth it. I'm so glad that I enjoyed today. The universe was obviously telling me to go out today to this specific place so that I could meet Carly. Call me lovesick, but it could be that I'm destined to be with Carly. I really hope it goes well next week. I'm pretty sure it'll be a proper date. Right, phew, that's finally done. Bloody hell, that took forever to write down. Probably gonna need a new pen soon. There's not much ink left in this one. Jeffrey. What? Who's there? Show yourself. Open the book. Who are you? Where are you? What book? My diary? It's all dark now. I can't see anything. I don't know what happened. I opened my diary after that mysterious voice told me to. I don't understand. Where am I? I can't feel anything. It's like all my senses are gone. I can't see, hear, fear, taste, or even smell anything. Wait, am I dead? Oh no, what about Carly? I'll never see her again. I need to escape. I need to wake up. There has to be a way, right? Right? I just have to move. Why can't I move? What the hell is going on? I can't talk. I'm just hearing my voice like it's in my head. Please, tell me that it's just some crazy nightmare or a prank. Please don't let me be dead. Your soul is mine. After 600 years, I finally awakened. My soul... What? Who are you? Your soul is the first that I have claimed. With this, I can grow stronger. Your soul was not ideal, but your emotions have revived my ability to steal souls. So, am I really dead? Yes. I was able to absorb your soul. This is your end, mortal. My smartphone begins to ring. Who's ringing me this time? I wonder if it's Jeffrey. Oh no, it's just my mother. Better answer it or she'll get worried. I pick up my smartphone and I answer the call. Hey mum, what's up? I say to her, acting like I don't know what she wants. She's always calling me to talk about how annoying my dad can be. Ugh. I just felt like calling to see how you're doing. Your dad's actually been really nice and helpful lately. She says this excitedly, which I can't help but feel happy about. Oh, go on then, tell me about it. Those are the words I wish I didn't say to her. After 10 minutes of her trying to explain how my dad had actually gotten her a bottle of wine that she doesn't like, and cooked her a meal that he left baking too long, and the top layer got burnt to a crisp. Well, it's a thought that counts, right? Oh, Carly, I wish you could have been there. He was so romantic. I couldn't help but retch at this. The thought of my dad being romantic is just unthinkable. You see, my dad's actually quite the dirty tramp, and he's not particularly the most caring and considerate of men. I'm glad he's finally trying to make an effort, though. I think my mum's just a bit too into it. Whatever. Have you met anyone yet, Carly? Those words often pierce me, since I haven't been in a relationship in so long. There just doesn't seem to be any decent men out there that can make me laugh. They're all just trying too hard to get into girls' knickers, in my opinion. But this time, it's a different story. Jeffrey, that guy I met at the Lake of Lostout Trail. Ugh, my heart flutters when I think about him. Crap, I can't believe I just said that out loud to my mother of all people. Oh, I wish you didn't ask me. My word, Carly, you sound like you're in love. My mother obviously sounds a bit taken aback by what I just blurted out. She must think I'm some sort of lovesick puppy. Well, maybe I am. Just a little. You've got to tell me everything about him right now. Come on, please. My mum begs me to tell her about Jeffrey, so I do. I met him today up at Lostout Lake. My mum interrupts me with, "You're still doing those lonely picnics?" That's just my mum's name for someone who has a picnic by themselves. She doesn't understand that I like it. Well, yeah. Anyway, he was awkward and goofy at first, but I offered him to join me since he seemed really nice and was kinda cute. We got talking and it turns out we have a lot in common, so we hit it off super quick. I finally breathe after getting that out. Here comes the judgment is what my inner voice is saying, but my mother just responds with, "And? Did you get his number or something?" Of course, my mum's a bit old school and thinks people just exchange numbers so quickly. But she's also right, because that's exactly what we did. Yes, Mum, I got his number. We've already planned to meet up again and talk some more. It's a picnic date up at Lostout Lake. I say this last part awkwardly. It's a bit embarrassing to admit that it's a date. Well, I think it's a date. Neither of us has called it a date to each other, but I'm pretty sure it's a date. Carly, I'm so happy for you, but I have to go. Your dad has a little, something else planned for tonight. She giggles like a 12-year-old schoolgirl who just found out a guy likes her. Ew, I don't even want to know what that's supposed to mean. Your father sends his love. I'll talk to you soon. Love you. Bye. She exclaims before I can reply. She hangs up. Lovely. Days go by and I don't hear anything from Jeffrey. I decided to text him. No reply. I tried to call him and he never answered. Maybe he's just really busy. Maybe he's just worrying about what to say to me since we're going on a date on Friday. Or maybe he plans to stand me up. I really hope he responds to me soon. It comes up to Friday and still worried that Jeffrey is going to stand me up. I force myself to get ready, pack up my end of the picnic stuff, and head up to the lake at Lostout Trail. It's not the best looking day, the sky is a bit cloudy, and it's not as warm as it was last week. I just hope it doesn't rain. I arrived at the spot where we agreed to meet, and I wait. I wait, and I wait. I wait some more. An hour has passed by, and I still haven't heard from or seen Jeffrey. I was stood up. Disheartened, I packed everything up. I went home, I got out a bottle of red wine, and I had a bloody good cry. I really liked Jeffrey. He seemed like he was into me as well, but he ghosted me. It's so rude. I'm not exactly the best at holding my alcohol, so after a bottle of wine, I start leaving drunk voicemails on Jeffrey's phone. It's not my proudest moment, that's for sure. 10 minutes later, my phone began to ring. I saw that it was Jeffrey who was calling me, so I answered it. I wasn't sure if I was going to apologise profusely or shout at him. I answered it and the man on the other end of the phone. It wasn't Jeffrey. Hello? The man sounded loud, large and proud, but his voice had a lot of curiosity to it. Hi, where's Jeffrey? Who are you? I say this with hesitance. Don't tell me that Jeffrey had a boyfriend he never told me about. Please tell me that this is his brother or friend or something of the sort. Well, I'm Detective Harold working with the police. Regarding Jeffrey, I'd like to know where he is as well. My body was shot, but in my head all I could think was, oh no, Jeffrey's a murderer, he killed someone and the police are looking for him. Of course, this wasn't the case after what the policeman said. A couple of days ago, Jeffrey's workplace had reported him missing. He hasn't been to work at all this week, and it's not like him to be off for so long without a good reason, let alone a reason at all. We've already searched his house, and we've managed to get his phone charged and unlocked so we can search through it to see if there are any clues as to what may have happened to him. If you could come down to the station to help us with our investigation, we would greatly appreciate it. I gave the man my information and had agreed to meet him tomorrow morning at 10 AM, as I am currently a bit drunk. Knowing that the guy you were supposed to go on a date with has gone missing is actually quite sobering information. I'm worried. The next day I wake up full of anxiety and fear. What if they suspect me of kidnapping Jeffrey? I mean, that would be absolutely ridiculous, but stranger things have happened. Well, not to me, but in general. I get dressed, I brush the wine stains from my teeth, I make sure I have a croissant before I go. They might question me for hours after all. I've got to keep my strength up, after all. This is going to be scary, depressing, and stressful. I'm sure of it. I arrive at the station and let them know who I am and why I was there. After a few minutes of just waiting around, PC Harold comes out and greets me. Yep, he's a pretty stereotypical policeman. He's tall, he's a bit on the big-boned or chubby side, he's bald, and he's got this thick and proud Yorkshire accent. Lovely. I bet he's going to be really loud and horrible to me. Or so I thought. So, your name is Carly Sampson and you met Jeffrey Hussington last week while having a picnic by yourself by the lake at Lostout Trail. Is this information correct? I confirmed this for him. Good. I can see that you're not going to be a liar after admitting to something as sad as that. Great. He's a smart arse. I hate having to deal with their type. We've gone through his phone, all of his search history, messages, phone calls, even his voicemails. Oh dear, now I feel like I'm going to panic. Those drunken voicemails I left him are embarrassing. He's into some strange stuff, but he doesn't seem like he's a cheater, liar, murderer, or the sort that would just disappear into thin air. We know you were supposed to meet him yesterday, but obviously he's been missing since before then. We have no leads, no motives, and no answers. His mother is frantically worried. If you have any information, if there is anything he said to you that could possibly have anything to do with his disappearance, I really need you to tell me. I think, and I think. Yet nothing came to mind. So I told him that Jeffrey never told me anything of the sort about him leaving or being involved with anyone who might want to harm him. He sighs and he tells me something that shocks me down to the bone. We went through this diary of his, and the last entry was from the night that you two had met. Are you sure he didn't say anything to you at all that could be a lead for us? At this moment, I feel like it's my fault that he went missing. He met me, and then a few hours, he just disappeared into thin air. I'm sorry, but I've got absolutely no idea. I burst into tears. I'm afraid and worried. What if the first guy I have liked in years has been kidnapped, tortured, and killed for someone's sick and twisted amusement? The detective, Harold, tries to comfort me, telling me how sorry he is that something like this has happened, telling me that they will try their hardest to find him, and he told me that if there is anything at all that I remember that may be of importance to the case, to let him know. After this madness, I returned home. I texted my mother the basics of what had happened and asked her, gently, to just give me a few days to clear my head. I didn't want her calling me. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I just wanted a drink so stiff that muscle atrophy itself would be jealous of it. So I got out the vodka, ordered a pizza, and turned on some soppy romance anime. What have I devolved into? How can one man who I met once go missing and make me feel so devoid of life and happiness? I want to see him again. I cry. I eat my pizza, watch the show, and I cry. All at the same time. On occasion, I'd have a swig of vodka. The rest of the night is a blur. Morning is here, and I wake up. I can't tell if the sound I hear is the ringing in my ears or my smartphone. I groan, prop myself up, and check my phone. Turns out that it's just my ears that were ringing. Now my head's pounding. I go back to sleep and try to sleep off the hangover. It doesn't really go to plan, as I hear knocking coming from the door. However, I thought it was in my head, so I ignored the knocking. It got louder. I'm forced to get up and answer the door. I'm a mess, but there's no time to fix myself up. What if it's Jeffrey who's knocking on my door? I opened it to find Detective Harold standing in front of me in his full police gear. "Hello," he says. Why does he sound so joyous? "I've got news for you, Miss Sampson." I invited him inside and warned him about the mess. He's surprisingly understanding of my situation and gives me time to take some painkillers and brush my hair. I even make him a cup of tea. "So, we have learned from Mr. Hossington's mother that her husband, Jeffrey's father, had also spontaneously gone missing when Jeffrey was just a child. Unfortunately, no one has ever seen Stephen Hossington since. Now, this doesn't give us a lot, but it's the only lead that we have. We have found out that there is more than just a blood connection here." Now he sounds excited, as if he's going to tell me some great tale of detective work. "So, you remember that diary Jeffrey was writing in, right? Turns out that it was a memento of his father's. His father was the captain of the tree felling team who helped on creating Lostout Trail back in 1999. As a reward for his efforts, a massive tree they felled was turned into these sort of trophies for the people who worked on the project. That diary was actually an empty book that was made from the tree. Now, there were also reports of strange sounds and groups of school kids mucking about during the project. Now, this is just a far-fetched theory, but perhaps those kids were the ones that kidnapped, killed, and disposed of Jeffrey's father. I know it sounds even more mad, but it's possible those kids are the same ones who took Jeffrey. I contemplate this information. It sounds stupid. It sounds fake. Like something out of some half-baked murder mystery novel. I can't hear any more of this. I thank the man for the information and ask him to leave, as I need time to comprehend this new information. He leaves. I'm on my own again. That diary, that tree, those are the thoughts that I can't get out of my head. Maybe I should do my own little investigation. I have heard the folk tales about Lostout Forest. There was a demon who lived there, who would come to the village and eat people. Maybe that monster was real. Maybe it came back when Stephen Hossington cut down that tree. Maybe that diary is cursed. I have to know more. I turned on my laptop and I started my research into evil spirits, curses, and I also tried looking up the people who were involved with the creation of Lostout Trail. Before I knew it, it was 6 p.m. Time flies when you're looking into black magic. I rubbed my eyes and shut off my laptop. I now had the information on 3 people who worked on Lostout Trail. Peter Dinkliffe, head of Project Lostout. Lucy Carmite, head of nighttime security. Melissa Cartwright, tree fella. I let out a heavy sigh and ordered some food. It was too late for me to cook. The next day I woke up, got dressed, and I set out to Dinkliffe Construction in hopes of meeting Peter Dinkliffe. I'm surprised he's still around considering he's in his 50s now. It's not too far from where I live, just a 20-minute drive. When I arrive, all I can think about is, What if he doesn't want to talk to me? With this defeatist mindset, the woman at the reception desk asks if I'm okay. I asked to see Mr. Peter Dincliffe in regards to a case. I made up some big lie about how I am a reporter who was interested in the mysterious case of Stephen Hossington. Without too long, I was in the office of Peter Dincliffe himself. Wow, I wasn't actually expecting to get an audience with him. The first thing I do when he sits in front of me is come clean. I told him why I was really there. He seemed a bit shocked that Jeffrey had gone missing, and that it's just as mysterious as Stephen's disappearance. Stephen was a good man. He loved having a laugh with his mates, whether it was on a work break or not. He was nearly always positive, and he was good at his job until Mr. Dincliffe had trailed off. His words had sorrow to them. There was one day when he and his team felled a massive oak tree. He cast the final blow. That day he seemed so troubled. His mental health declined rapidly. He was hearing voices in his head. He was so depressed all the time. He could hardly concentrate on anything. He got help though. When the project ended, he had disappeared, never to be seen again. I'm not a superstitious man by heart, but I swear that tree had to have been cursed. Of course, no one would believe me about that. Saying this, he seemed to scoff at the world, as if he had been saying this for a long time, and no one would listen to him. I think I might believe you, I say to him with some semblance of confidence. I tell him everything, how I met Jeffrey and about that diary. Peter's eyes widened. I'm not sure if he was about to cry, or if he was just terrified. Perhaps a bit of both. We need to burn that diary. After that fiasco with Stephen, I was able to make sure no one else had their tree trophy. I was able to get rid of the ones I had already given out. But I thought that the diary went missing with Stephen. Obviously, I was wrong. I don't recommend going to anyone else involved with that project. They wouldn't believe me, so I doubt that they'd believe you. I agreed with what Peter was saying. It's not like me to get dragged into bizarre things, but I feel strongly about this for some reason. Mr. Dincliffe, how are we going to do this? Of course, he has no idea. Well, what if I go to the station, ask to look over the diary and then steal it? He disagrees. Well, if you do that, you'll get caught for sure. I bet that they won't see it as evidence anymore. Just ask them if you can take it home with you as a keepsake. With that being said, I agreed, and I said my farewell to Mr. Dincliffe. Time to get that diary, I think to myself. I get into my car and set my course for the police station in hopes of getting Jeffrey's diary back, so I can burn it. After a bit of driving, I got to the police station. Something feels wrong as soon as I step out of the car. With this bad feeling I run into the station instead of walking like a normal person would. I feel sick and anxious, as if something dreadful has happened. I get to a receptionist and ask her about the diary. She pointed me in the direction of Detective Harold's partner, and the words that came out of their mouth made my stomach retch, my head spin, and my legs crumble. I'm sorry he took it. He said that he felt like there was something in the book that was calling him to head to the lake. I'm sure you can meet him there. He might be gone for a while, he said. My face goes pale. I need to sit down. Miss Sampson, are you okay? I can barely think. Why am I so afraid right now? I'm fine. I'll go meet him there and ask him about it. Thank you very much for your help. Just like that, I rush out of the station and hurry to my car. I need to get to the lake. Quickly, I drive as far to the trail as I can get and park. It's raining now. I don't have a coat or umbrella, but oh well, I'll live. I get out of the car and begin to run. Breathless and halfway to the lake, I force myself to keep running. The ground has turned into sludge under my feet. It's humid, like I'm in some sludge-filled rainforest. I keep running. Eventually, I reach the lake, but there was no one there. Detective Harold was nowhere to be seen. I look around, I wait for a few minutes, and then I head home. I dry myself off, sit down, and call Mr. Dincliffe to let him know what's going on. So he wasn't there? I've got a bad feeling about this. He might have disappeared. That diary must be cursed. He sounds both scared and angry. I can't blame him. For 3 people to suddenly go missing who are connected to that tree in some capacity, it truly is terrifying. What do you think we should do? I ask in anticipation. I don't know. I don't think there is anything we can do. We just have to hope that no one else finds that diary. The police are obviously going to hassle you after this, since you went to go find him when he went missing. Hang in there, Miss Sampson. One day, your life will go back to normal. I can't help but let out a small laugh at those words. I feel like normal no longer exists for me, and my life will never return to those days. Days passed. It was confirmed that Detective Harold had gone missing. Mr. Dincliffe was right. The police questioned me straight away. They realised I was innocent pretty quickly, but it felt relentless at the time. After this, the hours turned into days, the days turned into weeks, and before I knew it, a couple of months had passed by. There was no news on Detective Harold or that cursed diary, once belonging to both Stephen and Jeffrey Hossington. Unfortunately, this strange diary has made 3 people vanish as far as we know. Both me and Mr. Dincliffe are keeping our eyes out on this case. I'm going to get into journalism so I can keep a closer eye out for that damn diary. I'm also going to be looking further into the folk legends surrounding Lostout, as well as black magic and the occult tales, so I can find out more of how to find or stop that diary. I sincerely hope no one else encounters that wretched book. It's been just over 2 years ago now where the son of missing construction worker Steve Hossington had also gone missing. His name was Jeffrey Hossington, and shortly after, the lead detective on his case, Detective Harold Luccan, also went missing. Because of the mysterious circumstances surrounding this case, it has laid dormant this entire time until just the other day. We have been informed that a junior detective by the name of Carly Sampson has taken up the case, being supervised by new lead detective Alan Sutt. The incessant alarm had the gall to blare out at this time, waking up the half-asleep junior detective. Today was her first day on this case. She wanted to find her friend Jeffrey, as well as the detective that tried to help her in the past. That's the entire reason why she decided to go to the police academy. It took 2 years, and she just barely passed her exams before finally landing a job as a junior detective for her town. It was like the universe wanted to give her a chance. As she'll soon realise, though, none of this would be easy. Carly slithered out of bed, slapping her phone to shut her alarm off. It was 6 a.m, a time that she will probably never really get used to. She rose to her feet, let out a loud sigh, yawned, stretches her body upwards as far as she could go, then slumped back down on her bed. Defeated by the early hours of the morning, she got back into bed, only to be interrupted by a call on her smartphone. She picks it up. "Yes, detective, I'm getting up right now, stop worrying." She spoke in a sarcastic tone. "Come on, Carly, I know you're better than that by now. Get off your lazy ass, have some breakfast, and get down to the station as soon as possible. We've got a big day ahead of us." With this encouragement, Carly replied with a resounding, "Yes, sir, I'll be there at 7, just as I promised." She hung up the phone and staggered towards her wardrobe, looking for her work attire. She stripped down, got dressed, and yawned all the way to the bathroom, where she proceeded to brush her teeth, wash her face, and take a couple of painkillers. Carly had been suffering from strange headaches almost every morning since Detective Harold went missing. "Ugh, I did this in the wrong order. I'm supposed to eat and then brush my teeth? Now everything's going to taste awkward and minty. Ew." She sighed, dragged herself downstairs, and decided that a quick couple of croissants and a cup of tea would be all she needed. She'll soon realise that being a detective is hungry work. Ugh, it tastes so minty. Why do I do this to myself? Reluctantly finishing her breakfast, Carly does a few last things before heading to her car and driving off to her job. Relosia, whispered an unknown voice in her head. In confusion and fear, Carly almost swerved her car. Relosia? What the hell is that all about? Stupid head voices. This being said, nothing eventful happened for the rest of her journey to work. When she arrives, she parks, gets out, and enters the station. Good morning, detective, the receptionist practically shouts in excitement. It's obvious that he likes her. I wouldn't go that far, but thanks. Morning, she replies. Finally, she gets to the detective's office and knocks on the door before she enters. Last time, she didn't knock and found Detective Allen playing soldiers with a couple of his pens. It was embarrassing, to say the least. You may enter, a stupid, muffled voice yelled from behind the closed door. Carly enters. Right, you're here and you're not late, so thank you and well done. Now, I've pulled up everything poor Detective Harold had on this case and thought that you could tell me if you know of anything else that isn't in these documents. In shock, Carly raises her voice at him. You're going to question me on the first day of this case being reopened. What the hell is wrong with you? Oh dear, she's only gone and done it, she thinks. Look, it's a case that's personal to you, and you've been questioned by Detective Harold already. But you two didn't exactly get much time together to talk about any of the finer details. It's all just the basics. I know you know more about this case than you're letting on. And if we want to get to the bottom of this mystery, you, young lady, are going to tell me everything from the beginning. By the way, did you have a big breakfast? We're not leaving this room or eating until I squeeze every last drop of information from you. Are we clear? Carly regrets not having a heavier breakfast, as this would go on until past lunchtime. Carly explains the basics of the case and everything that she told Detective Harold, bar from a few tiny details she had forgotten about. But that stuff is all in the documents anyway. But then she moves on to how she went to visit the project manager for the Lostout Trail, explaining that she'd been told of a demon that haunted the trees and about what might have really happened to the 3 missing people. Wait, do you expect me to believe that some demon whose spirit was trapped inside of a tree that was chopped down and turned into a book has somehow made 3 people vanish along with said book? I mean, that's the most ludicrous tale I have ever heard. Where's your evidence? I love a good horror story. Completely taken aback, the young detective speaks to confirm what she's hearing. You believe me? She's dumbfounded at his reaction. I mean, I won't really believe it until you show me your evidence on this, but I'm oddly superstitious and I would love to believe in something as crazy as this. Of course, no one else will really believe it, but we can make up whatever we want once we get the real mystery solved. It's not the nicest thing to do to the families of the missing, to lie and deceive them instead of telling them the truth, but what can you do? I doubt any of them will ever take the police seriously if they're telling them that their son, husband, whatever, was taken away by a possessed book. Agreeing with everything that Detective Allen was saying, she goes to speak, but her mind is played once more by that word, Relosia. This time it was louder, as if it was getting closer to her somehow. She shakes her head, sighs, and finally goes to speak. Right, the first stop for my evidence would be to talk to Mr. Peter Dincliffe, and so you can make sure my story checks out. After that, we need to track down a couple of the other workers to make sure his story checks out. I'm thinking one of the tree fellas that worked with him, and that security guard lady. I think her name might have been Lucy something or other. Listen, detective. I'm sorry I didn't tell Detective Harold everything, but I doubt he would have believed me if I had told him. Even so, like you said, I found all this stuff out after he first questioned me. So I wouldn't have really had much of a convenient time to explain things to him. even if I thought he would believe me. It's okay. What's important now is that you've told me everything and now we have no lies or secrets in the way. We can track these people down, do a little bit of investigating into their stories, and then we can take things from there. If this book really is possessed, then it's dangerous, and we need to find it as soon as possible. There is no telling how many people it might have taken by now. With that being said, they both left the office and got into the young detective's car and drove off. First stop, Mr. Peter Dincliffe. She had texted him beforehand, letting him know that they were stopping by to confirm the story. The trip there was surprisingly quiet. Carly was surprised by this, since Detective Allen is always so chatty. Maybe he knows more about this sort of stuff than Carly does. Maybe he is a bit more than just oddly superstitious. They arrive at their destination and enter the Dincliffe construction building. Greeted by the receptionist, the detectives are given a waiting time of 5 minutes while Mr. Dincliffe finishes off a phone call with a client. After a wait of around 10 minutes instead of 5, Peter Dincliffe himself appears before the two detectives. Pleasure to see you again, Miss Sampson, and it's an honour to meet you as well, Mr. Other Detective Person. A little bothered by this, Alan speaks. Detective Alan Sott. Nice to meet you, sir. Are you okay just to confirm some of your comments on the case regarding missing father and son, Stephen and Jeffrey Hossington? Taken a little aback by her formal and professional manner, Peter speaks up. Yeah, that's fine. Come into my office and we can have a chat about it there. Away from all the prying ears. They like a good gossip in here. He laughs nervously. It's never fun to speak to a detective about your missing friend. It doesn't take long for Detective Allen to figure out that Carly's story has checked out, since pretty much everything that Peter has been telling him and Carly is the same stuff that Carly had previously told her superior. Well, I think I've heard enough. Thank you ever so much, Mr. Dincliffe. We'll let you know if we get any new leads in this case. Carly's story checks out, but now I need to find out if your story checks out. I'm not too convinced of this superstitious stuff, but it's our only lead right now. Carly was confused. Why was he contradicting himself from earlier about how superstitious he was? Then she heard it again. Relosia. Again, it seemed louder than it was before. Not by much, it was more like a distant whisper now, instead of a faint and distant whisper. Her headache from this morning came back. She could do with a couple of painkillers and something to eat. Sir, not to be rude, but I'm starving. All I had was a couple of croissants this morning, and it's already 1:30 in the afternoon. Can we please just get something to eat before we go hunting down that security guard? Feeling his stomach growl, Detective Allen agrees. Right, yep. Let's just get a burger or something. My treat. This is my fault, he mutters under his breath. And then we'll go and see that Lucy person. That okay? Nodding like an excited 8-year-old finding out they're going to a theme park in the morning, Carly hurries the detective into her car and gets in herself. Burger pit stop, here we come. The rest of the day was mostly uneventful. They were quickly able to locate and speak to Lucy and one of the tree fellers that worked alongside Steve Hossington, and confirmed each of their stories with what Carly had previously told Detective Allen. So they returned to the station to go over all their current and new information. Okay, so that's everything we know so far. Do you have any ideas on where else we could look for information? I can think of one really good one, but I want to see if you've come up with it as well. Ellen says, testing the young detective. We could go down to the library and look online at these stories they were talking about. You know, the ones about the Lostout Forest where that demon was said to come out from and eat villagers. What if that book ate the missing people? With a wry smile on his face, Alan congratulated the young detective with a resounding, exactly. That's what I wanted to hear. Great minds think alike. Tell you what, I'll go down to the library because I like me a good horror story, and you can check online. See if there's anything you can find out about this demon and that forest. Unless you find something really important, I think we can afford to call it a day and meet back here tomorrow. I'm supposed to be going out for a meal with the wife and our little boy tonight. After that, the two go their separate ways for the rest of the day. Once home, Carly pours herself a glass of whiskey, orders herself a pizza, and sets up her laptop. I've already gotten so much nothing when researching this, I might as well just look through my documents so far and see if there's anything I'm missing and then take it from there. Carly looked through all her notes, some folk tales about a creature that came from the forest and ate nearby villagers once every 2 years. Some of these folk tales say the villagers were abducted instead of eaten. Who knows what that thing really did with its victims? The one thing she hasn't really found is any evidence of this creature really existing, where it came from, what it looked like, other than it being a demon of unimaginable cruelty, or even what its name could have been, if lesser demons even had names like humans. She also hasn't seen any folk tales or stories based on the legend after the mid-1800s. There's just so much nothing here. I need to find something concrete or up to date, but there just isn't anything. Carly opens up a web browser and types in the obvious Lostout. She scrolls through page after page, not coming across any new information. Then the voice in her head speaks again. Relosia. This time it was a close whisper, like it was only a foot away from her face. Straight after that, she hears a loud knock at her door. Eep! Carly squealed and rushed to the door. Moments later, she walks back into her living room with a hunger in her eyes as she opens her pizza box. It's hot, fresh, and full of Italian sausage and pepperoni. Ah yes, pizza, glorious pizza. She tried to pick up a slice, but instantly puts it back down. That's bloody hot. Carly closed her pizza box and puts it down on her coffee table to cool down for a moment, while she goes and pours herself another whiskey. She's not really supposed to be drinking when she has work early in the morning, but it helps her to focus and come up with more interesting ideas. Taking a break from all the research, Carly begins eating her pizza. She wonders to herself what kind of pizza Jeffrey would have liked. She never got to ask him. Maybe he'd like something more classical, like mushroom and pepperoni, or ham with extra mozzarella. I don't see him liking pineapple on pizza, but I guess I'll never know. He's not coming back, is he? She ponders this for a moment, then takes a swig of the whiskey, then sighs. Slowly but surely, she finishes eating her pizza. She eats slower when she's really depressed. It's a unique habit of hers. She takes the box in the kitchen and returns to her laptop. Right, she thought. I need to figure out what this Relosia thing is. It's going to start driving me crazy if I keep hearing it in my head. She opened up her browser and types in Relosia. Not much came up. Only a few things were actually relevant. The rest of the results were all about rolling Asia and rolling in Asia, etc. She clicked on the first result that read Relosia. Real or folk story? Great, she thought. The website opened up. It was one of those really old early 90s sort of websites. It was actually an old blog post on a website about supernatural entities. She reads parts of the blog post out loud. Relosia is said to be an ancient curse. There has only ever been a few accounts of it happening in the ancient past. It's connected to black magic and the demon world. No one knows if it's real or not, but that's what I want to discuss in my blog today. Carly starts to worry. Wait, am I cursed or something? What does this curse even do? She reads on. It has been said that someone inflicted by this curse hears a voice in their head. It says Relosia, louder and louder. Some people say that once it turns into a shout, the inflicted disappear, or their heads explode. No one knows for sure. Carly panics. Oh well, that's lovely, I'm gonna die, aren't I? I am cursed, what the hell? Did that bloody demon do this to me? She reads on once more, finishing the blog post. There isn't much evidence to go on, but in my research I have discovered that it seems to be only inflicted on women and only activates around 2 years after coming across a demon. I hope you enjoyed this little insight into this Relosia curse thing. It's most likely a bunch of nonsense to scare women into staying away from men who are a bit out of the ordinary. If you think you're cursed, you should probably seek one of those people who do exorcisms. Completely gobsmacked by this, Carly pours herself another whiskey and then downs it. She may be afraid for her life, but she's not a savage. Even she won't drink straight from the bottle like most would do in this situation. After her whiskey, she pulls herself together and starts a bit of side research into some trustworthy exorcism services, including local churches, cathedrals, and other religious societies that claim they can vanquish evil spirits and remove deadly curses, so one website said. She gets a list of numbers, writes them down, and plans to call them tomorrow if this Relosia thing got any worse. She then backs out of the exorcism services and the blog posts, then clicks on the only other result that popped up from her research of Relosia. This website looks a bit younger, probably early 2000s. However, the page gives Carly a choice and a question. Do you have Relosia? With the options of yes and no. Carly clicks on the yes button, and the page goes back to that original blog post she was just reading. In frustration, Carly shuts off her laptop and decides to call it a night. Shortly after doing this, she hears it again. Relosia. The voice in her head turned louder. This time it sounded like it was right in her ear, a loud whisper. She shook her head and got ready for bed. She wasn't going to deal with this anymore. As soon as she talks to the detective, she will call one of those numbers to try and find a way to get rid of the curse. While asleep, Carly has a nightmare. The voice returns with several versions of itself, all chanting Relosia at varying volumes. Some were whispers, some were speaking volume, and some were shouting. As for the sights, it was a pitch-black nightmare, until she saw herself surrounded by light orange flames. There was also a giant head made up of light orange and black flames. It was some sort of manifestation of a voice that was in her head. This time, when it spoke, it sounded like it was speaking in a normal volume. Relosia was once again spoken by this voice. It's possible that she had just one Relosia left, before she either disappeared, or her head blew up. In fear, Carly suddenly jolted out of her dream and woke up. It was only a few minutes before her alarm was going to go off, so she decided to cancel her alarm and get up. With this possibly being her last day, she frantically wrote a note about everything that was going on with her. Then wrote another note to her family and friends telling them how much she loved them all, and then she rushed to clean her teeth, get dressed, and have breakfast. She wasn't going to mess around today. She needed help. She rang several of the numbers she found on the internet, and only one of them agreed to come and help her remove the curse. But he wouldn't be able to come until 11 PM, so she agreed to meet him at the police station. She didn't care too much about how it might look to other people. She didn't want to end up dead before completing her mission to find Jeffrey and Detective Harold. Grabbing her laptop, Carly quickly got out of her house, locked it, and then ran for her car. That's when she heard it again. Relosia. This time it was in an aggressive tone. Not quite a shout, so she has some time yet. She set her car into the highest gear and floored it all the way to the police station, in hopes to explain to Detective Allen everything that she had found out and everything that was happening to her. Once there, she rushed into the building with her laptop. Instead of letting the awkward receptionist speak to her, she rushed straight past him and went into Detective Allen's office. While waiting for Allen, she sets up a laptop and paces around. She can hear the detective talking just outside the door. It sounds like the receptionist is telling him that I rushed in here. Just as Allen put his hand on the door handle, Carly heard the voice again. Relosia. This time, it was a shout. Not just any shout, but more like an aggressive roar. This was it. The end of her journey. She failed her mission. Allen opened the door only to find no one was in the office. Only Carly's laptop. What happened after this, you may be wondering? Well, it's simple really. An investigation was done into the disappearance of Carly. but no concrete evidence really showed itself apart from the notes she left and the data on her laptop about the Lostout case. It was eventually turned into a cold case, and to this day, the case remains dormant. Even Detective Allen has abandoned it. Huh? What the hell? Where am I? The last thing I remember was hearing that stupid voice again. Wait, am I dead? The voice appears to Carly once more. Your wild and frantic emotions. This mission of yours to save your friends. This is why I chose you. I have fed on your very existence. Thanks to the three of you, I have now gained enough power to escape this useless world. I need stronger emotions, stronger energy. I need more power. The voice laughs, unable to see, hear, feel, smell, move, or speak. Carly fades into nothingness.